Tuperas today on Doop by the River. We're going to look back at another beating of the Philadelphia Union as they took one on to Orlando City. We're going to look back at what happened last Saturday. As we look ahead at this upcoming Saturday, the Union taking on Atlanta for the second time in the last month. So, ladies and gentlemen, buckle up and don't you dare go anywhere because you do not want to miss this episode of Doop by the River. Let's get it started, guys. Dale!
Doop by the River
doesn't do anything well. There is not one.
I'm sorry. There was no creativity.
As a Union fan, I hate that all day.
Another DP. We need to go get Mario Balotelli. And that is right. Welcome, everyone, to Doop by the River, the show where we follow everything Philadelphia Union. And, of course, we are brought to you by Philly Sports Network. Before we dive into today's episode of Doop by the River, I want to welcome everyone watching live on YouTube and on Twitter. Of course, if you are watching live on YouTube, make sure you guys hit the like button and subscribe for all of your live viewings of Doop by the River. And, of course, you can listen to us wherever you stream podcasts. We're available on Apple, Google, and Spotify. Find us under Doop by the River podcast. And, of course, ladies and gentlemen, as always, I am joined by my expert in duping. Please welcome Justin Serotonin Brick Wall Friedberg. Justin, how are we feeling today?
Pretty good. It's good when you continue dismantling the entire conference and the league, and LAFC drop points, and it's just been a good few months, and at this point, is anything really stopping the Union outside of the Union themselves? Like it is what it is. The Union are the best team in the league by far, and at this point there can be no question.
I know, man. It just again feels like there's nothing that can go wrong. But listen, it's Philadelphia, so we gotta always take it one moment at a time.
Yeah, one moment at a time. That's why I enjoyed last year's playoff run, because I enjoyed each moment while it came, and despite the COVID outbreak, it's still nearly won, and it was still a hell of a ride.
Absolutely.
This year feels different. This year feels right.
We welcome AK Gaming for finally could watch Doop by the River. Busy soccer season. Listen,
I mean, rather watch us than the Chicago Fire. Am I right?
Why you gotta do that to AK Gaming? Did they do us? Wait, did they do us the solid? I didn't even look at that score.
No, they lost. They almost did. They lost 3-2 to Montreal.
Oh, come on, AK Gaming. No, it's all good.
I mean,
man.
Casper wasn't in the lineup, so
Dude, what does Chicago do with Casper, man? You got to keep him, right?
I mean, unless you can flip him for $2 million in allocation money, and I don't think anyone's going to be dumb enough to pay that.
Unfortunately, Cincinnati has been taken over by the Union, so they're not going to be taking that on.
I mean, listen, maybe they need another forward behind Brenner and Vasquez, and they need someone who's not fast and will miss most of the sitters.
Could you imagine their backups being Sergio and Casper?
At that point, you would just go like, hey, Chris, you got any other ideas than sign players the Union no longer wanted?
That's pretty much it. AK Gaming, yeah, dude. Listen. At least they can hang the banner that they were in the playoffs for a month, right?
Yeah.
Almost made it.
Yeah, we tried.
I'm sorry, AK Gamer. You know what? We love you, man, and
we love you, but y'all are an easy target. I mean, at this point, you can't. What else can you say about a team that hung their hats on the hopes of Shaqiri and Casper being as dynamic as Miggy and Joseph?
Dude, you know what? Now I'm thinking about this. You know what's wild to me? We literally. I guess you could say traded or upgrade, whatever the term you want to use. But we had Sergio, Casper, and Jamiro pretty much running our attack, right? And now you got Gazdak, Carranza, and Ua, who are just obliterating this league. Dude, Ernst Tanner is a freaking magician, man.
Ernst Tanner is going to break this league. Like, he has already dismantled the in-person portion of the MLS Super Draft. He's going to dismantle how this league operates. And I am loving all the changes. He's like teams are starting to copy the Union in terms of, hey, how do we get to be, how do we be a better team?
You think he could fix the Flyers too, or is that just too far fetched, Justin?
He might be a genius, but I don't think he's a miracle worker like that.
He probably would get Johnny Gaudreau here. I'm just saying,
No, he would. He pulled someone from the Estonian hockey league that would turn out to be an insane player. Would win the Flyers Stanley Cup, and then you'd trade him for like 10 first-round picks. Right? That's how it works.
I love it, man. That's what we do here, man. That's what we do. We just have fun, and we just love this team because what, Justin? What else? Like how else? We can't really critique this team anymore. It's just that well. But before we get to the critiquing part, Justin, I want to get to something that I know AK Gaming wants to talk about as well, and I want to get your expertise as you are at the moment our USMNT expert. But of course the international break begins next week. And of course, for the U.S., they have the roster announced for these two upcoming friendlies between Japan and Saudi Arabia. And I know for a lot of my Union fans, they are interested in this as well. And this also did bring up a lot of discussions on social media too. So here's the roster. Your goalkeepers, not really much of a surprise. Matt Turner, Sean Johnson. And
I know the reason that Zach Steffen isn't in is he's hurt.
So noted. Yep.
So that would make sense for Ethan Horvath because I think Matt Turner and Sean Johnson essentially are locks for Qatar. I mean, Sean Johnson is the only goalie that is playing consistently, and Matt Turner is getting Europa League minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if Zach Steffen's healthy, he'll be there. I think I feel like it should be more of a competition. I feel like you might see like Matt Turner start one game and Sean Johnson start a game. I feel like it's a competition between those two, realistically.
Have you watched Matt in Europe at all?
I watched him play the game against FC Zurich. He didn't have a lot to do. I mean, he looked comfortable, more comfortable playing the ball with his feet, which has always been a kind of concern for him because he is absolutely the better shot stopper of the two of all the goalies.
Yeah, but you got to do that in Arsenal, man.
But I think he, I think obviously with Ramsdale, like he's gonna only get as many minutes as they're gonna want. But I think realistically, I think it's a 2-man race between Turner and Sean Johnson at this point. Unless Zach Steffen gets healthy again, then maybe. But
yeah,
I don't know. He's been kind of iffy for Middlesbrough.
Okay. All right, so your fullbacks: Serginho Dest, DeAndre Yedlin, Reggie Cannon, Joe Scally, and Sam Bonds. Did Serginho go to AC Milan? Did I see that?
He did.
Wow.
He was rumored with Bayern, with Man U. He was rumored with a lot of teams.
That's big for Milan.
I think it's not necessarily anything he's done. I think for some reason Xavi likes Sergio Roberto in that position, even though he's not a fullback by nature. Mm-hmm. I can't explain. Like, the move itself was fine, and he was getting time, and then Xavi comes in, and it's like there's not a lot you can do.
Right. No, absolutely, man. I mean, listen, Milan's coming off Scudetto, so I'm sure they're trying to repeat.
Oh yeah. They got a lot of talent still there. I think he'll be fine there. I don't know if he'll stay there, but I think it's a pretty good spot. I mean, I believe their captain is their right back, but at the very least, he's gonna get consistent minutes. He's gonna get decent minutes.
Dude, I'll be honest with you. I haven't watched Milan play in so long. I probably wouldn't even recognize the club. I mean,
they've honestly they're starting. At least last year they started to come back to the team that they were. The player I'm glad is finally on this list is Joe Scally because he has been playing pretty damn well for Gladbach.
There you go.
In that 19 save masterclass from Jan Sommer against Bayern Munich, the 1-1 draw, he looked pretty, Scally looked pretty good. He's been, again, the issue seems to have been, like we've seen him in some US games and he's looked a little suspect, but like for Gladbach, he's become a name that is usually in the starting 11. And so I'm glad to see him. I'm trying to see him. Sam Vines, I'm not terribly surprised. I think this is another chance to give him a shot because obviously what you have with like Anthony Robinson and Dest is in here because, again, he hasn't been here in a little while. Vines has been playing well. I believe he's in Belgium.
Okay.
But, again, he's another guy that, like, he's one of those names. If you're out there, like, he's on the edge, the fringe of the roster. And then again, this is the camp where you're going to see if guys can make a push. Guys who are on the fringe can make a push.
Okay. All right, so we move on to the center backs: Walker Zimmerman, Chris Richards, Aaron Long, and Cameron Carter-Vickers. Haven't heard that name in a while.
You just got to say Cameron Carter-Vickers. Carter-Vickers.
Where's he at these days?
He's at Celtic, actually.
Really?
Okay. Yeah, he was there. He was there. He played really well last year, and so I'm not surprised to see his name on this list. He's been pushing. I think the only other the name I am kind of surprised, and maybe it's just because of how he's played in the past for the national team, is Chris Richards. I mean, the move to Crystal Palace was decent and all, but the thing is he isn't going to be getting much time because their center backs are Anderson and Gahey. I have a hard time seeing him pushing through there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know it would have been a lot, but I'm reading podcasts, but Mark Mckenzie has been starting a lot this season for Genk and has looked pretty good. He's been an integral part of them so far this season. So I was kind of
for the World Cup.
I think it took him a little bit to kind of get settled in there. I didn't think it was going to be as nearly as clean to Europe as Brendan's was, because I think midfielders and center backs develop differently, and center backs it usually takes a little bit more. So Walker Zimmerman, I'm not surprised. Aaron Long, I'm not surprised. Cameron Carter-Vickers again has been playing better. It's Chris Richards, admittedly in this list. It's one of those. It's going off of because he's usually been the partner for Walker Zimmerman. But like, is that on is that a good enough on credit alone to really be pushing that? So I don't know. That's the one name I'm like, I understand it, but I also could have seen someone else in that spot.
Yeah, man. I'll be honest, man. I'm not liking these center backs for. I mean, obviously, like Miles Robinson injury hurts as well. When's his expected return back?
Probably early to mid next year.
Damn, man, that is a blow for him for sure.
I mean, Achilles is one besides the ACL. True. That's the one that, I mean, Achilles can be a bitch to recover from.
This is true, man. This is true. All right, central midfielders: Tyler Adams, Wes McKennie, Yunus Musa, Luca de la Torre, Kalen Acosta, and Malik Tillman.
I like this midfield. I mean, Adams and McKennie and Musa, the MMA midfield is obvious. Luca de la Torre he hasn't gotten a ton of minutes for, I believe he is with, I think it was Real Betis. I know he's in La Liga.
Okay.
But I think he's built up enough credit with Berhalter and the national team to really push through. Kellen Acosta is one of the de facto backups. I think whatever you want to say about him, he does all the dirty work. He gets in there. He's a decent passer. He's good at delivering set pieces. I'm not surprised. Malik Tillman, he's been playing well on loan at Rangers. That's one of those he might make the roster. So I think he is one of those players that this is absolutely show me what you got.
Okay. The fun part, the wingers / attacking midfielders. Christian Pulisic, Brendan Aronson, Gio Reyna, Paul Arriola, Jordan Morris. A fun group, man.
Yeah, I mean Pulisic, obviously he's always going to be there. Brendan has been playing out of his mind for Leeds. Leeds are in a bit of a funk right now, but you can't much you can say. Gio is finally starting to be healthy. I mean, Dortmund are easing him in. Paul Arriola is playing well for FC Dallas. I'll give him that much. Jordan Morris, though, typically I would say, okay, no problem. But, I mean, he's been so for Seattle this year. And Seattle in general have been so. So I am surprised at his name on this list, to be honest.
Okay. And then last but not least, the most controversial part of this list, your striker position, Jesus Ferreira, Josh Sargent, Ricardo Pepe. Before you say anything, Justin, just my analysis, and I'm not really too familiar with Berhalter's tactics. I got like the emphasis, the basis of it, but it's clear that like his striker, his 9, what kind of style he wants at that position, Justin.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Ferreira is your de facto starter at this point. Like, despite my feelings about him, he's been playing well for FC Dallas. His national team form has been up and down. He has a tough time scoring, and that's the whole thing. Is like, well, strikers need to be able to score. Josh Sargent, after a long time in the proverbial, national team wilderness, he's been playing really well for Norwich. He's been playing as a striker. He's been starting over Timo Pukki, which I never thought would happen. I was amazed they were playing him at the wing. And the name on this list, Ricardo Pepe, I don't get it. I mean, the big move to Augsburg, he doesn't score there. He's on loan at FC Groningen. This has to be a confidence booster of some sorts, because the kid I mean, I know he's like 18, 19, but the kid is in barren form. Like, this is next level, goal struggles. It's like, legitimately, I have no idea what happened to him going over there, because like before the move, he couldn't stop scoring, and then he makes the move, and it dries up faster than the Grand Canyon. Like, I legitimately don't know what happened. So, and the question, and I think on a lot of people's mind, is, well, what about Jordan Pefok? Because I mean, right now, I think if I'm Greg Berhalter, I think your strikers are Ferreira, Sargent, and Pefok without question. Those are your 3 most informed strikers. I think Haji Wright maybe is a close 4th, but I think this has to be giving Pepe a potential shot, because I cannot see any reason why you would leave Jordan Pefok off of the Qatar roster.
I mean, like, listen, I get it, and also Jim's kind of the same way. You trust your philosophy, right? But like, you mentioned Pefok, and obviously I'm going to bring up Brandon Vasquez in here. It just feels like Pefok and Vasquez are playing at a very high level right now. I mean, they're scoring in their respective leagues. Like, why isn't like recent success important to Berhalter? Is what I, as an outsider looking at this.
I mean, I think Vasquez. The timing of the scoring happened after qualifying.
Okay.
And I think if you were going to bring in a new player, I don't think the forward position is where it was going to be. I mean, think about and you can throw Pepe in there. Think about Ferreira, Sargent, Pepe, Pefok, Haji Wright. They have all played in a game in qualifying or a friendly. Like, look back far. They have all at least been called in and gotten time. I think Vasquez's window, I think it was a good shout, but if you look at all the players ahead, like, I think I mean, again, he's also young. I believe he's only 22, 23, right? Like, it's not like he wouldn't be in prime, age for the next one, for the next World Cup in 2026. I think there's a better chance. Again, he also might make a move to Europe by that point. So I don't think it's necessarily him playing in the MLS. I think it's just, I think with all the options you have, you're going to go with the guys that you know are going to produce at this level, like that you've seen. It's Vasquez, because Vasquez is a complete unknown at the national team level. That's the problem. And I think it's a big gamble to take this late in deciding the roster.
Justin, tomorrow you have to act surprised.
Oh, God. The white one is the white one. I don't know if it's trying to be like a throwback. I believe it's like 2002 one. The
Oh, I
blue
see
one,
that a little bit.
the blue one, I think was decent. I thought it was a decent. At least if it's the one I saw, I think it's decent. But man, like looking at like Nigeria's kits and looking at all these other kits,
I
I'm
mean,
like,
Justin, you know they always kill it.
I know, but looking at all these other teams, you're like, man, it'd be nice, if we had a little pizzazz, a little anything, man. Come on.
Zach, listen, I'm a man of the people, right? And obviously, it was a big deal because everyone was talking about it on social media. And listen, Colombia is going to be also. Justin, did you hear about the Ecuador stuff?
Is that still going on?
Dude, I literally
I cannot believe that shit's still going on.
The messed up part of me was like, does this mean Colombia has a chance to still make the World Cup?
They are generally still being.
That's a crazy ass story, dude. Like false passports.
Well, but they already the FIFA already ruled in favor of Ecuador, and Chile still they're trying to get it. And it's like, give up already. Like they're not going to overrule this.
Yeah, man. Listen, I still want to see them in there. It's a fun team. Like it's a young bunch of kids who are hungry, fighting for the shirt. Grandma would say, yeah, it definitely. But listen, Zach, what am I supposed to talk about? I have to root for the U.S. I'm actually American. So I have to know. Now I'm with Justin. We're in this together, Justin. We're in this together through the World Cup. So I'll be here. And also, Zach, next week during international break, I'll actually be watching my Colombia in North Jersey. We're playing Guatemala for a friendly, so I'll be all Colombian up. Don't worry about me, Zach. Zach letting us know Anthony Robinson also.
But again, I think he'll like. You don't need to see what he's gonna do. You know what he can do. So even if he wasn't, it wouldn't be surprising.
True. Zach, Chris Richards is our best player as far as center backs go.
I would disagree. I think great. He gets to move to the Premier League. He's perpetually riding the bench against Joaquin Anderson and Mark Gahey. From a playing time perspective move, I don't get it. Vieira's pretty set in his lineup. I just cup minutes. Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense for a guy who was getting a lot of minutes on loan at Hoffenheim. I don't understand why that move never materialized into a permanent deal.
Okay. So has he played at all for Crystal Palace?
I think mostly in cup matches. I haven't seen much in terms of Premier League starts.
Okay. This one's good. Perfect midfield, no comment. Just that Gio and Brennan are also midfielders, not wingers, Craig.
I mean, the weird thing about that is it's mainly just how they line up. It's not necessarily I think realistically, I know we've talked about this with Zach, where Gio is best in the midfield, and you can kind of rotate these guys through the midfield and in the front three, so it's kind of a tougher thing to be yeah, he should be there. It's you have a lot of people that could be in other positions at the end of the day.
I'm still shocked that Brennan's playing as a winger, man. It's just
I mean, he's been playing.
I know
he's been playing behind, essentially kind of to the outside and behind of the strikers for Leeds, and I think he's just doing what he do. He can bring the ball up from the back. He's a great passer. He gets that. I think it's the energy. He can run from any position.
Justin, he will always be my number 10, leading the way with that high press.
Yeah,
those are the days, man.
Those are the days. But man, I think the real question would be would Brendan supplant anybody in this current roster? I think Leon is the only player that I could see supplanted from that midfield.
Okay.
Oh, Celta Vigo. Yeah, I knew it was La Liga. Whereas Real Betis was a shot in the dark.
Did you see that? Was it Alves, that goalkeeper who literally ran from the sideline to the stands with the defibrillator to save the Spanish?
Yeah,
Is that
that was.
crazy?
Yeah, listen, I that's like you talk about goalies, so like that was a smart he saw it and knew he would get there faster, so he just ran to the trainers and hey, that saves someone's life. That's impressive. I'll give him that much.
Of course, someone in the comments had to mention the fact that they lost 4-0 to Barcelona, but hey, he had the most important save of the match.
Yeah, he saved somebody's life. I think you can give him a little slack for not playing great in Barcelona.
Barcelona of all teams. Give me Paxson or Clark over Paul and Jordan all day, every day.
Is he talking about Caden Clark?
I
really
guess
hope he's
so.
talking about Caden Clark is not someone I would want.
His career, it's an interesting one. But
Yeah.
I'm going to say I called it, Justin. I'm just going to say that.
No, listen, and shouts to our boy Matt Sia who shouted us out. I've been listening to the EPL boys lately. Yeah, like I said, Matt and JD. They've been throwing our names out there.
I just need 3 days to catch up on the Prem, dude. I've been so out of tune with the Prem in 3 years, and I will be on the show. I'm in.
You don't need to. Well, you don't need to catch up right now because there wasn't a game last. There wasn't games last week, and there's only 7 out of 10 games this weekend.
Oh, dude, that's rough, man.
Listen.
That's why I watch MLS, boys and girls.
How to ruin everything, and listen. We could have had soccer. No, we just Queen Elizabeth had to just her Ferdinand just had to bogart everything. But, listen that we and that's why we revolted against the English inside the Revolutionary War.
But you know what, Justin? All those Euro snobs that give us crap all the time. This is the 1 week we can legit come at them oh, you missed your that sucks, dude. I just watched club.
It's like you stopped the league for your for your head of state dying. I can't relate.
Hey, we love you, Euro snobs. We're always here for you too. No worries.
But we'd also love it if you love the league that plays
sports
here.
Fan. Just be a normal sports fan. Just support your local. I mean, I don't think it's that crazy. Are you gonna it's you know what it is? It's the perfect example. Are you gonna pick Domino's over your local mom and pop shop for pizza? If you're picking Domino's, tell me who you are. Send me your address so I can slap you across the face.
Yeah,
I'm picking my mom and pop shop.
I was gonna say, yeah. If I'm picking, I'm picking. I grew up in Marlton. I'm picking Sal's over Domino's or Papa John's. Let's be honest. That's or you're talking Would you pick Jersey Mike's over Gitano's?
Why not?
No, not in a million years.
I was gonna throw in the for all my Cherry Hill people's pizza. Right on 38 or Johnny's Pizza. Well, Johnny's Pizza took a dip after so many owners. The pizza quality just went down the craps. But that was a good spot when I was a kid.
You ever been over on and it's a place my grandfather used to my grandparents lived in Woodstream. You ever been to Sacanti's?
Why does it sound so familiar? Where's that?
It's right on Route 70, past where the Marlton Diner used to be.
I know where you're talking about. I haven't had that one, but I know where exactly you're talking
about. And listen, they used to have the I think it was was it 2 slices of pizza and a drink for $5. And I used to go with my grandfather. We'd go to get pizza, lunch, and a movie, and we'd go with there. And I remember throwing on a fuck ton of garlic powder, an obscene amount. I could probably scare away a vampire with the amount of garlic I put on the pizza. I learned that from it. But yeah, man, that pizza, Sacanti's, after a party, Sacanti's pizza wasn't amazing by any stretch, but man, it hits a spot in every way. That local, that mom and pop pizza, that nothing hits like that. Nothing hits like that. Papa John's, Domino's. That's mass consumerism pizza. The mom and pop for pizza, you gotta go small.
especially if you live in South Jersey, like any of like the pizzerias in like a mile or like 5 mile radius, you'll find a good
Yeah,
slice.
and if you're in South Jersey, you got the
Everywhere.
South Philly Italians that came over and opened up a shop, or if you're in North Jersey, you got the New Yorkers who came down, and like it's like I said, it's all listen,
Continues
New York, New Jersey, PA, the best pizza in the country.
continues adding on to my narrative that New Jersey's not a real state. But anyways, before I piss off any New Jerseyans over here, let's talk about the match. Let's talk about our match on Saturday. I mean, there's really like not too much to talk about simply because the Union kind of just did what the Union do, and that's just literally obliterating teams with their attack that's like the best in the league. It's like I still like don't even believe I said that out of my mouth. But let's get to this. So to start off with, it was a 5-1 victory. The lineup for the Philadelphia Union, again, pretty much stayed the same as per usual for Jimmy Boy. Blake and goal, of course. Wagner, Elliot Glesnes, Olivier Bizo got the start at the right. Your midfield, the usual 4. Flock at the left, Brujo Martinez at the 6, Ali at the right, Daniel Gazek at the tip, Mikel Ua and Carranza as your 2 forwards. And we start, well, first off, in the 14th minute, so close, but a great ball by Kai Wagner. Julian Carranza was just a little bit offsides, and that was the first real opportunity that
every looking at that angle, I was like, it just
close.
It was so close. Like I couldn't see it. I couldn't see it definitive. I was like, oh come on, and the run he made it. Like I was like, how is he offside? Like it was one of those like cutting across the line. It's like, how was he offside?
Just by a smidge, just by a legit hair.
Just by a hair on that beautiful Argentinian head.
Absolutely, man. But the Union got lucky in the 39th minute. Daniel Gazak outlet passed it out to Olivier Mbizo. Olivier Mbizo crosses it in, but it takes an unfortunate deflection for John Moutinho, and it falls in the net. And it was an early 1-0 lead there for the Philadelphia Union in the first half. And kudos to Orlando. They gave it a tough fight, but kind of like the New York match, the Red Bull match, it really just took one play for the Union to just unleash the beast, as they would say. The next goal was my favorite, Justin, simply because I saw something from Leon Flock that I didn't think I would ever see. This dude had a pass through the damn lines, and he had a little bit of air under it as well. And he threaded a needle, found Daniel Gazak, who came back down to get the ball. And again, Gazak, Carranza, Gazak, Ua just cracks this into net, and it's a 2-0 lead before the halftime. We move on to the second half, 55th minute. Surprisingly enough, there was no Pedro Gaese. So unfortunately for Mason Stuthar, who is a homegrown goalkeeper for Orlando, this was the worst time to have a freaking start for Pedro, because you got to go up against the Philadelphia Union. So 55th minute, Gazak's going for a ball. Stuthar's also going for the ball, and he just kind of dives right in front of Gazak. It leads right to the spot, PK opportunity, and of course Daniel Gazak's going to bury it. It's now a 3-0 lead. We move on. 8 minutes later, this was a great play in the way it was set up. Brujo Martinez takes a ball from Olivier Bizo, one touch, beautiful cross to the other side. Great awareness, realizing Kai Wagner was wide the hell open. He crosses it. Kai Wagner crosses it in, and then Ali Bedoya comes out of nowhere and just dives.
Full extension Superman.
Just gets the header in. Now
he sent it. He sent it.
Unfortunately,
he also landed.
He paid for it.
He as the Cooligan would say, borked his dork. For all you goalie squad members, you know exactly what that means. Unpleasant landing, to put it lightly.
Now, look, the report after the match was there was a weird sensation down there. So for precautionary reasons, they took him out of the match. I'm sure he's fine. You know, he's remember, although he's playing like he's 25 years old, he is still 35. And, you know, some injuries, Jim got a
text from Allie's wife saying, for the love of God, take him out.
Dude, I freaking love Allie, man. Oh my god, I freaking love him. Orlando did get a reconciling goal. That was actually it was, I got to be real. It was a nice looking goal. It was a nice crack by Andre Pereira. Gets past Andre, but like those goals don't typically go past Andre. But listen, it was a 4-0 lead at that point. Jack Elliott would get on the score sheet, Justin. Kai Wagner on the corner kick, 87th minute in, and it was a corner that kind of found the back post, and Jack with his 6'3" frame gets
And
the head in.
Clean header, like literally no one on him, like not even he could have set up a George Foreman and walked in on there. Like the time he had to walk in there was ridiculous.
It was great, and that would do it. The Union again with another dominating home win. It just feels like if the Union are going to play home, it's a guaranteed win. But not just that; it's like going to be a win that they're winning like 3-4 goals plus. Subaru Park has truly become a fortress, and like in their last was it 6 home matches, they've scored like 18 goals or 18-3 goals. Like it's crazy the numbers that they are putting up, Justin. Historical numbers as well. They are close to breaking the goal differential record, and it's crazy because Justin, I know you felt the same way. Like 2018 and even like before that, the Union were always, like literally always in the negatives in the goal differential. Talk about them breaking the goal differential record. It is crazy for fans who have been going through this. But let's just kind of talk about this in general, man. Just your takeaway from this match. Anything you want to take away, because it's just kind of becoming redundant at this point.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it feels like, what can you say about this team? The way they've been playing, Olivier Mbaizo gets, I mean, that's a hell of a deflection. I almost wanted to say it was it was really, I almost felt like it shouldn't have been an own goal. Like, I know it wasn't necessarily going on net, but you could like say, well, like it was heading in the direction of the net, and like I was like, oh man, like I was trying to fight, and I knew they were to call it an own goal, but I was like, oh come on, like you can give that to Olivier. Mikel Uwa's goal is exactly the type of goal that I said at the beginning of the season that he would be like. These are the runs he was making in Denmark. These are the runs that the Union have needed from a striker. Timing.
How about Leon Flock though on that pass though, Justin?
I mean, right into Daniel Gazdag, and Gazdag picks his head up. And listen, I said if you could get him behind Antonio Carlos, he's not fast. And Mikel Uwa just said, "Thank you very much." And it almost was like a thorough like toe poke. Like he just smashed that thing through Studahar, and it was like, okay, this is it. And the PK, I will fully admit, I thought was going to get overturned. I mean, there was contact, but the ball was pushed a little far. Like it was one of those like, but hey, it happened. Gazdag finishes it. Ali Bedoya risking his manhood to score that goal. It was a great header. I mean, again, yeah, heads up play from Brujo. I mean, that pass was on a rope. That was a perfect pass. And I know he's a great he's a great player, but it's like it works. And that was just and Jack Elliott's goal. I mean, he literally was wide open.
Yeah,
wide open. Like I talk about a corner kick, and you look, it's like there's a 6'3" center back, 6'3" Englishman just strutting down from the PK spot. And it's like come on, Orlando, you're not even trying at that point.
I'll say this. Would have Orlando had a little bit of rest? Would have Orlando came into this match a different situation? Look, winning US.
You still think we would have killed them? I still think we win that. And I laughed that we were, Tim and I were saying like during the game, and I kept saying to Tim, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have some words on for the podcast, because if I remember correctly, you thought I was being harsh on on Orlando for what I said, and the reality of it was, again, yeah, they won the Open Cup, great. They played like shit for 70 minutes against the USL Championship side.
That's true.
And
35 minutes, yeah.
And they just lost 1-0 to Atlanta. Atlanta's barely clinging
Did
on.
they really? That's a final.
I think they went all out, and they're fifth place right now in the East. Their spot isn't secured at all. There are only 3 teams now, and with Orlando's loss, the only 3 teams that have qualified for the playoffs at this point are the Union, Montreal, and tonight with Orlando's result, New York Red Bull.
It's truly incredible what they've been doing, man. And it's like, unless the Union it feels like the Union are the only team that can really beat themselves.
Yeah, unless they get injuries, like it just feels like injuries. Like we talked about last year, they're a COVID outbreak away from playing in Portland. They also, even with the COVID outbreak, still nearly won. I think, but again, this team is built differently. Everything about this team, they are a absolute dominant force at the fortress that is Subaru Park. The defense has always been solid the last few seasons. That has not been a question. The question has always been, where's the offense coming from? And for the first couple months of the season, yeah, that was a legitimate question. But again, it was, Daniel Gazdag was holding this team up, and his production was holding this team up for a while. Ali was chipping in, Corey was chipping in goals, Julian Carranza was chipping in goals. The question was, where is Mikel Uwa? And at the end of the day, it was between the visa situation, injuries early, they tried to rush him back. And we talked about, if you look at the last few months, he's been playing 70 minutes, 70, 75. He's starting to push more minutes. And you don't need him to go full 90. But the fact that you're getting him for at least 65 to 70 minutes and still getting insane production out of him at that point, I mean, he's been playing 70, 75 minutes regularly now for a little while. It's amazing to see. This team is next level right now. And I've been saying this for a while, and I feel like a broken record, but I don't give a fuck at this point. The Union are the scariest team in the East. And the fact that they have secured home playoff games, and at this point, if you win on Saturday, you've locked, I think essentially, if my math is correct, you've locked up first in the East. That means you have home playoff games through to the MLS Cup final. And if you win the Supporters Shield, you have home games through the MLS Cup final. So it is this team is next level good. And I'm telling you, if the Union host MLS Cup, first off, I'm taking an Uber down because it is going to be a long day at Subaru Park. And if they win, I'm telling you, it's going to be an all-night party down there in the.
I'm taking a week off.
Oh yeah, it'll be. Oh, listen. I already took off. If the Union hosts MLS Cup, I'm not going on my golf vacation. But I'm still taking the time off. So I have 2 days before and 2 days after the weekend. So I have built a nice buffer for a solid weekend of just whatever happens.
Before we get too ahead of ourselves, I want to talk a little bit about how this team is kind of built itself. We talk about how this team kind of is setting the precedent of how to build a team. We always talk about the youth academy and all that, but it's crazy that this team has such talented of a team that it does with how low their payroll is. That is truly remarkable. And we talked about it before, but it's just crazy that still, Justin, these teams are spending money to better their teams, right? but yet they're still going after strikers, still going after 10s. The Union built it the right way in the fact that they solidified a defensive structure first before they did anything else. You remember the days where Andre Blake literally had to do everything out there to try to even get a draw for this team. They made it an emphasis. I remember, what was it, 2020? Ernst Tanner, once that year, he said, we allowed way too many goals in 2019. And they made some serious strides in 2020. We saw that led to a supporter shield. And so it's crazy to me that, Justin, that so many teams still want to go out and buy that 10, buy that number 9, instead of investing in a strong defensive structure. This has evolved into what it is now. We talked about earlier in today's pod how we essentially swap Jamiro, Sergio Casper for Carranza Gazaganua. And you see, that's all we really needed, because this team was elite in a lot of different positions last year. But building a defensive structure, it leads to everything else. Now you can invest on the attack, and you can build a prolific attack like the Union have. And more teams need to learn from that. Not just the youth academy stuff, not just the way you spend money, but how you're building a team. It starts with defense. I just don't know how other clubs don't get that.
I mean, I think there are clubs that are starting to look at that. I think you look at Montreal.
Nashville's too.
Montreal, Nashville, like there are teams, and FC Dallas was the real archetype for what the Union kind of were building on. Obviously, the Union now have kind of taken it and run miles ahead, and other teams are trying to catch up. At this point, I mean, the Union, like you look at LAFC, and I have been saying it for a while now. Great, you buy all these nickname players. Where's the cohesion? You bought all these players at the end of the season.
You're losing to Houston.
You're drawing against Minnesota. Like people thought I was crazy when I said there were a lot of potential slip ups for this team, and now they're tied with now they are level on games. The Union are 2 points up. It is the Union's to control now. LAFC lost control when they drew with Minnesota, and Cincinnati for a while was a team that again, I've been saying look at what the Union been doing. They've been slowly, incrementally building with the roster development in terms of spending. I mean, listen, Mikel Ua was almost $3 million, and that was your highest level spending. You've balanced that in with Leon Flock was $250,000. El Grupo was less than $1 million. Ali was got on a free. Jakob Glesnes was gotten for I think $500,000. Jack Elliott was drafted. Leon was Kai was gotten for next to nothing. Olivier was signed for pennies on the dollar. You look at up and down this roster, they have spent smartly, and they have built up from the academy. And I've been saying this for a while. You can balance spending smartly with academy players. And at the end of the day, the Union are the key, the golden light, the key marker for what teams should be doing. Now, are teams like LAFC still going to sign a Gareth Bale and a Giorgio Chiellini, who are way past their prime? With Chiellini, yes, that's still going to happen. That you're not going to stop teams from doing that. But I feel like the more you look at it, this should be identified team. There are multiple ways to win an MLS Cup, but building from within and spending smartly should be really the key. Hey, here's how teams can have sustained success, not just spend. The Union are set for a solid growth. I mean, remember we were crap the first half of our existence. Let's be honest. It's been a slow build, but we have had sustained success since 2019, and it feels like it's not going to stop. We're finally at a point where listen, we might not win the MLS Cup every year. Obviously, it's crazy, but we are going to be competing for it every year at this point. It feels like so. It is a good justification to be here's how you do things. Here's how you do things in the MLS now. I think Ernst Tanner came in and said, you know what? If you look at here's what I've done, and here's how it works. And you look at Jim Curtin. Jim Curtin is absolutely a player's coach. He knows how to get the best out of his players. He knows how to pull them together. I think you weeded out players that may not have gelled with the team vibe. You've brought in players that not only gel with the vibe, but are excelling in the positions. They were either, being played out of position, see Julian Carranza, or in leagues that many people not know about with Mikel Uwa. Like, I mean, if you look at, again, him and Hani Mukhtar were teammates, and they were both ridiculous for Brøndby. So, like, it just goes to show there are multiple ways to get to a successful team. And the Union, I think that method is more sustainable than spend.
It's crazy too, Justin, that, we're enjoying these players, and, we don't know what their future is going to hold for guys like Uwa, guys like Carranza, right? But the beauty of it, Justin, is that you do have Aronson waiting. You do have Sullivan waiting. You do have a bunch of other kids that are waiting in the wings for their opportunities to shine and be the everyday starters. And that was the plan all along, man. And it's going to slowly come to fruition. We'll see what happens, but this is a lot of fun. We're obviously enjoying it. But next up, Justin, we're going to be traveling down to the A, where it used to be a very daunting place. Look, I don't want to take too many shots at content creators here, Justin, but I want to be completely honest here, right? So I'm looking at Atlanta, right? I'm looking at the content, right? Not only just for today's show, but also just to see what's going on down there after a couple weeks, and just seeing what's going on in Atlanta. When I started doing content creation, Atlanta had so many freaking content creators, podcasters, YouTube, you named it, everything. And there's barely any now. It's wild to me how, like, just a little bit of losing can really turn off that city.
They all decided to go work in the salt mines. Because Atlanta Twitter is just nothing but salt.
Now, obviously, we see the crap that happens on social media. They're still butthurt and bitter about. I don't know, dude. They were killing us for like 2 years straight, and yet we were taking the beatings like adults. And they can't take
2020 happens, and then things change, man. It has not been the same at all.
They gave us a valiant effort a couple weeks ago, and I feel like in the earlier matchup, the Union may have taken Atlanta a little bit too lightly, but the Union, just being the Union, knew when to turn it on, and they erupted for 3 more goals. And so I'm curious to see how it will go down in Atlanta. Because it's still a little bit, not obviously not what it once was, but still a little bit of a home pitch advantage for them. And obviously the game is much faster down there on that. What is it, like? Is it artificial grass, or what is it down there that they use for the bends?
I think it's like I think it's turf or artificial grass.
So it's honestly though, Justin, now I've just got excited because seeing Gaza, Carranza, and Uwa on that artificial grass, that could be very fun the way they play very fast.
Yeah, I think the thing I'm excited about is their ability to get up that field, because
could be an advantage for us.
I mean, if you look at that field plays very quick. And
yes,
that works exactly in the Union's favor. I mean, listen, they keep talking about, Juan Parada and his hat trick against Toronto. He also was at fault for 2 goals. Like, Toronto sucks this year. Let's be honest. The Italians. There was not enough, Marinata.
It's fun for a minute.
Or pesto to save Toronto's season. There not remotely. There wasn't a margarita pizza that was saving that a nice carbonara. Nothing was saving their season.
I heard that Gigi Buffon's going to come over next season to play goalie.
Oh, Jesus! You talk about guys who were washed up and really should retire. I love Buffon, but man, I really do hope he retired, because that's old, man. That's old. Like, that's gone like Juan Samuel.
It's like Brett Favre on steroids at this point.
Seriously, it's ridiculous. But looking at Atlanta, And I kept saying this, like looking at like today's game. I was like, why is Andrew Gutman that far up the field as a
Every
defender?
time.
Like, and
He did that here too.
Yeah, and I kept saying that, like, and the Union after that goal, they noticed that like Ali kept creeping over that side. He kept stopping the goal kicks. They kept a closer eye on him. He couldn't get forward as much. Like, if he's forced to stay back, he's a wing back. He's not really but they play him in the back three, and it's like he's not really a left side center back. He's a wing back by nature. He can defend, but he likes to play in the Trent Alexander mold where he wants to just bomb forward and just be really a part of the offense. And I think he'd be better in the midfield, but they need him to play defense. And I really think outside of that, like, Ahmad is playing decently. Like, I think he's starting to. I'm not sure he's worth the price tag. I think he still needs to build into that. I think it's been a lot of Arujo. He's got flash, but like it just feels like he
wants to hike up his shorts a little too high.
Yeah, man. What's it with Atlanta players? They're trying to copy William Collin. I know that's. Listen, he pulled.
It's really a South American thing, dude. Like even Ed Brule doesn't do it like as crazy as
he'll do it in warm-ups. He does it in warm-ups.
Remember Sorteo from Toronto last year?
Oh my God, his shorts. That's when he was wearing
shorts.
a G-string, man. But like, looking at Atlanta's roster, I'm just not scared. Like, it's tough to look at that roster and go, "Oh my God, no, we're gonna barely scrape out." It's like, no, I think we could easily win in Atlanta on Saturday. I have no questions about it. In fact, I absolutely think we're gonna win on Saturday, and I'm usually not ever this confident, but I fully believe we're winning.
So Atlanta actually went with a different goalkeeper for tonight's match. They put in Godinho.
Oh yeah, no, they benched Rios Novo after our game.
I would assume that
after that game, I would have benched him too.
They actually started Dom Dwyer too.
Yeah, I think he got subbed off for Joseph, but it was Almada that scored.
Dude,
and Gutman getting forward again was the key.
In all seriousness, though, Justin, Atlanta just needs to get rid of any stench from the 2018 championship team.
I legitimately think
clean
slate.
Think
that means, and I know it's crazy, but there was an article on MySoccer.com was like, should the Atlanta trade Joseph Martinez? Yes.
Yeah. Just get rid of it all.
I have been saying this for several seasons now. They are 100% too reliant on him. They have been like, when I think he should have left when Almiron left. He tried to stay and tried to build more, and they could never fully recreate that. They got rid of Julian Grasso.
They kept trying to do that though.
But they got rid of the guys. They got rid of Tita Villalba, and they got rid of LGP. Like, they got rid of the guys that made the team what they were. You lost your coach. They're trying to build. And I was saying this. There's so much rot in the organization that is so, like, they need to scrap it, and they need to build a better identity, because they're still doing the spend money. It's just
you're turning to the galaxy, man.
But it's not working. Like, they have not been good since 2019. It's been very clear that there's been a decline and that's why you see the decline in the way the fans have acted, in the people that are producing content. Because, like, what do you produce about this team? They're trying the same formula, and they're not getting anywhere.
Justin, if we suck, and I'm going to put this on right now, this is the September 14th edition of DOOP by the River. If we suck, we're going to continue making content. I will find we'll find something to talk about. We could talk about the worst moments in Union. I don't care. We're finding a way to make Union content. It's absolutely crazy that they kind of just all stop making content, but it is what it is. But yeah, you need to continue reinvent. This isn't just soccer. This isn't just MLS. This is sports in general. You have to find a way to continue reinvent. You have to keep up with the Jones, essentially. Keep up with the trends. See what other teams are doing. Find what works best for you. But yeah, I mean, you're right. They probably shouldn't have kept Josef Martinez for this damn long, and they're suffering from it. Is Bocanegra still there in the front office?
Unfortunately,
that's another one. Get rid of him too.
I think if you read the article last year, that I believe, who was it that someone that covers Atlanta pretty extensively, Felipe Cardenas. He did an article for the Athletic about like essentially what kind of broke down between Bocanegra and Tata during those days. And it's very clear that if I'm Arthur Blank, like that doesn't look good. Like Bocanegra, good player, but it's been clear that after that first few years, he should have been they should have been cleaning house, and he should have been right there with it. I really think it should be a full internal cleanse of the front office but they're just so stuck in those days. It's just I have a tough time being like, yeah, here's how Atlanta do it, because they're so stuck in it. They don't see the other side of it. And some of the fans do. I've talked to like Atlanta fans who are just like, yeah, we got to move on. Like, we got to establish an identity. They have pieces, but again, it is still their identity is so wrapped in Josef. Like, he's on the bench most of the time now, and their identity is still wrapped in how well he plays.
Yeah, man, you just got to clean house. You got to find a new philosophy. Find someone who is willing to put the work in and build a foundation. It'd be funny if they pick someone from the Union front office and just bring them down to Atlanta. That would be something there. Atlanta. We already dealing with Cincinnati, and now we're gonna deal with Atlanta Union. That would be pretty freaking funny, to say the least, man. But is there anything at all that you would say could potentially worry you about Saturday from Atlanta side?
No, I legitimately can't. We talked about this the last matchup. Yeah, okay, yeah, it's not at home, but the same stuff applies.
We would have to shoot ourselves in the foot, man. Legitimately.
Yeah, and I just don't see the Union do their goal came out of Andre Blake making a save and almost making a second one, and Andrew Gutman again coming from the back, and I don't see stuff like that happening more than once in a game, if that. And I think the Union, the way they're playing, I think I could see them putting 2 past Coutinho easily.
Maybe a little 4-0 win down there. That'd be interesting to see. But before we get to that, Justin, last Saturday, we put out Blake, Wagner, Glesnes Elliott, Mbaizo, Flock, Martinez, Bedoya, Gazdak, Carranza, Ua. Does anything change from that?
No.
You think Elliott play?
I think they all play. I think that's. I don't see why you would change up that lineup. It worked well against Atlanta at home. I just I have a tough time seeing it. Again, Atlanta can be easily broken down defensively, and that's where Olivier comes in. Olivier and Kai coming up those wings created so much havoc for that back line. I have a tough time seeing this one. Again, you have no more midweek games, so you're a weekend game, so you don't have to worry about the tight turnaround and rest. You've got plenty of rest. I don't see any rotation. I have a hard time seeing them rotating for this weekend's game.
Okay, it should be fun. Give us your sir.
I'm keeping with my prediction and in my preview article, and the 3-1 Union. I have a tough time thinking that Atlanta is going to put up they're going to put up a fight, but we saw it at home. This Atlanta team is not remotely anything what they used to be, and I think the keys again going to be harassing that back line. Parada, for all he's good in the air, he's good at set pieces. but the Union are great at defending set pieces. Like you
I'm
got,
not worried about that.
Yeah, like that thing. Like I even wrote in the article, I'm like, he's great in set pieces, but the Union are great defending set pieces. So like, but then the biggest thing is like he goes rash into challenges. He was at fault for both of Toronto's goals. I think if you harass him, if you make a point and you force Andrew Gutman to actually stay back and defend, I think you're going to create a lot of headaches for that defense. And I'm taking with 3-1 Union. I can't I can't pick against this team at this point. Like it would be makes my better judgment to pick against this team.
Okay. So, Justin, that concludes us with this. The Supporter Shield standing at the moment, as we mentioned earlier, Minnesota did us a little bit of a solid yesterday, drawing with LAFC. So your Philadelphia Union, ladies and gentlemen, are sitting in the driver's seat at the moment with 63 points for the Supporter Shield. And it's looking very much like a possibility that the Union could walk away with their second Supporter Shield in the last 3 seasons. Justin, it's looking good.
Yeah, I was saying, like, for the longest time it was, well, LAFC's got that game in hand. They're gonna, they control it, which they did. They did for a while, but this game in hand was always going to come up, and outside of Vela's goal, which was beautiful. I mean, first off, Arango should have been sent off. I mean, he got a yellow, and then 3 other chances that in a normal game, those are yellows right away, but they may not be second yellows. But it's like they pushed it. They did not look good. They generated a few chances, but this is a Union's race to lose. It just at the point the way they're playing, it feels tough to think that they will. Like you got 3 games remaining, 2 away, 1 at home. Your 2 away are Atlanta and Charlotte, and your 1 at home is Toronto. I can I can easily see winning all 3 games and winning your second Supporter Shield in 3 years.
The craziest part about this, Justin, is the goal differential. Like you're plus 20 more than LAFC. That's wild.
You are more than triple your goals for the goals against. That is unheard of at this point in the season. That is literally unheard of.
Oh my God, the season keeps getting better. Keeps getting better. Zach giving us an update. In other news, NYSC is dominating Atlas 2-0 in Campeones Cup.
You mean
dude? They really marketed the crap out of that game, man.
In the Who Gives a Shit Cup. Like, come on. they tried to make more of this bullshit cup. Like, I'm sorry, no one outside of that team gives a flying fuck about that game.
I definitely would not want to care about.
NYCFC hasn't played well all like in the last 10 games. And I heard Tara Twelman after the first goal going, if you didn't know any better, you wouldn't know that NYCFC is in the worst 10-game stretch. I'm like, because they still are. Just because they're playing Atlas doesn't mean that they've suddenly turned the corner. They still lost 1-0 to Charlotte and couldn't score despite being up a man for like more than a half hour.
Zach, a little earlier. Also, we need to give the Montreal kid a chance. Speaking of the USMNT, Mihalovic, we have amazing attacking mids already, so he's going to have to prove it in a top league.
I mean, he is going to Al-Zed Akmar in the winter, so
can't wait to watch him there, man. Have you watched? Have you seen the Brazilian kits?
I don't think I have.
I'll have to check those out, man. But Zach letting us know the Brazil kids. Zach, that's the last thing you need to do is give Justin an idea of buying another kid.
I've been pretty good about being reasonable and not buying jerseys on a whim. Listen, as I said, you live on your own. You rent. You have an apartment. You have rent to pay. You have bills to pay. You buy a jersey every now and then. You're smart. You're smart about your purchases a little more.
Okay,
you can have like one crazy purchase a month if you're being honest with yourself.
Okay, I think he's referring to this one, and if it is, I think he's got a point, Justin. No, that's not what I was looking to do. That is also not what I was looking to do. And here we go. Okay. This isn't bad. I think that more teams should, do like the little ombre looking thing at the sleeves.
But I
think
feel
that's a
like
good
there could be
touch.
more done with the body of the kit. It's a
Because-
decent one. I do love the arms. I feel like more teams don't do a lot with the sleeves.
Right.
But I feel like if they were smart, they would have continued they would have continued the pattern all the way down the jersey. I like it. I like it. I think it could be better. To be honest, I think the Mexico kit looks better.
Huh, interesting. We'll have to do our ratings of all of them, man. Anything else here? I'm a Fran Zones guy near me. Plymouth Meeting. Shouts to Plymouth Meeting. They need pepperoni to balance the sweet sauce, though.
Yeah,
sauce.
too sweet of a marinara can ruin a pizza. I've had I had when I lived in Medford, La Bella, the first time we had their pizza was good, but then the next time, it tasted like they just dumped an F ton of sugar in the sauce, and it was overly sweet. And I'm like I need it. I need something like salty to balance it. Like, it just is too much. So I can understand. I can agree with that.
I don't mind that. I'm the violator of the pizza. I like pineapple on my pizzas. I'll do.
How dare you? How dare you? How dare you? I thought I knew you. How dare you? How dare you bring
Alexis
that
would leave
sacrilege?
right now.
How dare you bring that sacrilege to this podcast? You have sullied our podcast with the delicious fruit that is pineapple on the holiness that is a pizza.
I don't know, man. It's honestly, like, in America, they don't do it really well. I still remember going to the park behind my grandma's house and just getting a slice of Hawaiian pizza in the park. This dude literally had a oven in the middle of a park, Justin.
Listen, I'm telling you, guys, somewhere in Italy, an old pizza chef is just had woke up from a cold sweat.
He's like, "Oh, Maron!"
And they put the pineapple on the pizza.
That's what we do here, guys. That's what we do. We talk pizza. We talk USMT. We talk a little union.
We are a cultured. Listen, we're a cultured podcast. We hope to elevate our fans by being very well rounded.
That's what we do, man. We dupe it up here. We definitely dupe it up. But guys, that's going to do it for this edition of Dupe by the River. Thank you guys for listening on in. And a big thank you to my co-host Justin for joining on it as well. Guys, if you enjoyed today's content, make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe for all of your live viewings of Dupe River. We are available wherever you stream podcasts, Apple, Google, and Spotify. Find us under Dupe by the River podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Justin Serotonin Brickwall Friedberg. I go by the name of El Parcero Philly, and we're telling you guys to dupe on, and please keep feeding us those Atlanta tears. We'll talk to you guys soon.